No, lots of them. So.
Well, I need a pack as well. Then I've photocopied stuff. I might just grab that.
Yes. Okay. Good morning, everyone. We have just gone live on YouTube. Thank you for joining. Most of you in person here today. It's really good to meet you. As I said previously in the training, my name is Luciane Bauker. I'm from Democratic Services. This is the first meeting of this academic year. So I'm going to start the procedures today, and I'm going to ask you to nominate for nominations for a chair for the next academic year, please. Don't need to shout at once. You can nominate yourself.
I am happy to stay as chair. Everyone's happy with that.
Okay. Are the others in favour? Just a show of hands, yeah?
Sounds perfect.
Over to you, Brian.
Right, thank you. Welcome everyone, and also welcome to everyone online. Ming, I just want to say that all heartfelt thoughts are with you and your family at this time, and it's lovely to see you here, so I hope you're doing well. We are happy to elect a new vice chair because Deborah is retiring in a couple of weeks at a time, isn't it, Deborah? Before we do that, I just want to say thank you, Deborah, for all your support. Your insights have been invaluable in your comments and the work that you've done. And your understanding of the finances has just been really crucial for what we do. And I just want to thank you personally for the support you've given me over the time that you've been vice chair, and not a bit jealous at all that you get to retire and enjoy the next stage of your life. So enjoy that. So we're looking for any nominations for vice chair. I love these tumbleweed moments.
Oh, Ming, you got your hand up?
Thanks, Brian. Can you hear me at all? I joined from abroad. Can you join me at all?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I would like to nominate Mark White as deputy chair.
Anyone second that?
You do need to vote on this.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, who is Mark White? Thank you.
Can we have a show of hands? Thank you.
Lovely, thank you.
Oh, Amanda, do you want to vote, Amanda?
Yeah, I was just voting.
Lovely, thank you. That's very nice. Welcome along, Mark. Okay, apologies.
Yes, we have apologies from Shirley Austin and Kelly Moon.
Yes, Shirley's got offset at the moment, so that's pretty understandable. Right, on to the next agenda item. We've got the minutes from the previous meeting. So if we just go through those, just to make sure they're all correct. So we'll be on page 7 of the first page. Page 8, page 9, page 10. I've got one question there. I think we were going to, we had there about number of outer borough special places. Have that information been circulated?
I did.
Yeah.
It's quite last minute. It was either yesterday or Tuesday or Monday. I can't recall, but yeah.
Lovely, thank you. Page 11. The only thing I noticed on that there was figures regarding the 0.5% was raised by Shirley, and if that is, even the figures from last year could be shared with everybody.
Is that point? Yes, that was circulated after the last meeting.
Last meeting, yeah, thank you. And I think that's everything there. Lovely. Right, the next item. Page was. Any declarations of interests? Nope. Revenue monitoring report. Al or Angela, I'm guessing.
Yes, the DSG revenue monitoring report as at November. We presented the report in the pack, and I've just got a couple of slides here just to highlight the information there. As you can see, the schools block, though, there's no movement there. The high needs block is where the changes have really occurred over the last few months. Early years we've had a little bit more income, but matching kind of expenditure, which we expect that to balance off, and the central services, school services block remains as it was. I've summarised the high needs block here to give a bit more detail about where those movements have occurred. We've seen a reduction in the growth rate for EHCPs, so that has changed our forecasting. And again, we've also seen a slowdown in misplacements, which is our independent special schools and our out-of-borough special school placements. And then the other area that we've had a decrease in spend is on the EOTAS category, which gives us a reduction in our overall forecasting of expenditure, along with a little bit of additional income. Okay. Are there any questions on that? Okay, thank you.
No questions? The DSG management plan and safety valve.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, the DSG management plan and safety valve update? Is that
With Ming.
with Ming?
I'll be grateful you out or Angela can help me to show the slide, but my device not allow me to show the slide from abroad. The key update on safety valve, Angela,
Yeah.
or can you please help me to show the slide?
She's just trying to get it working.
Okay. Just to fill the gap, I just would like to highlight that what just been said about the positive moment in terms of high need growth rate, which is very positive. This is one of the biggest highlights. Behind that, there are a lot of great work being done by yourself, by the whole system partners. Next slide, please, Angela. Okay, move to next slide, please. Okay, thank you. As I said, in terms of in finance terms, we still have a deficit, but deficit growth rate is so much slower now. It's not just a figure change, as I said, that it requires a lot of joint up work, which you contribute to, which we shouldn't forget. It's not just a figure. We now link up with education work, same work with the government, family first and best start in life agenda, which match our ambition really well in terms of moving to our focus to more upstream. So in order to reduce the higher level of need. That's exactly what we have been doing, and that's why now our finance account is relatively better. In doing that, we introduce some good practice. I think we want to roll out to all our partners, what we call, as you know, the relational approach, which is really vital to our success in working together as a system and working together with the parents, working together with parent representative in terms of co-production, etc. And the following cell here is very important. I think Darren and David and other members can back up what I'm saying. I think we really want to make sure this following is a school-led system, that kind of relational approach make our progress, as I just mentioned earlier. Next slide, please, Angela. This is very much the government's new finance approach. This is very, very high level. We should still don't know the detail yet. Colleagues may have heard us saying about high need deficit, safety valve, a lot. I think that's the area government now is saying that let's set out that in 2028, 2029, central government is going to support local authority for cent. What the government said now, they want to make sure local authority will not need to build up any future deficit anymore, but we don't know exactly government is going to do it. So this is a very high level development. Obviously, there's a willingness, there's ambition from the government to make sure our local system wouldn't just carry the burden ourselves. Local government want to be better supported in our way. I can't say too much because obviously we're waiting for the government to come out with more detail. Next slide, please. Yeah, we recently called it familiar with implementation of banding review. Colleagues may have heard the government last year, they're talking about they want to issue a national banding by November. The government is not able to do that because of complexity of that. But again, through partnership in working, we actually move ahead to work out a new banding. We believe it's a better system. And the implementation itself actually is led by school leader. We have one school leader is leading our implementation strategy past finish group. Let's John from mentioned earlier, I can say that. The top up of the banding will make huge difference. We want to make sure the priority is supported a well resource so that children will get the right support at right level at the right time. So that's what the banding review is about. Also, we want to make sure it's equitable, consistent, while the current system, I have said, is not equitable and not consistent. So let's one of the key activities we are doing at the moment. We are making great progress. There are still challenges in that. We have shared our experience with, just 1 month ago, we shared our experience with about nearly 40 local authority areas. They show great interest in what we are doing in working on. And also we want to learn from other areas of what they have done, particularly how we overcome the transitional period difficulty. I can recognize that some schools will find it very, very difficult transition from the current practice to the new arrangement. That's something we are focused on, past finish group, who have a school-led system to resolve that together with everyone. So this is very important for you to know that at the school Poland, the development of other boards, including Education Partnership Board, indeed, which I'm not putting, not including in my slide, but I think that you are here, like earlier, training was saying, you are here not just represent your school, you represent the system. You are the system leader. So know all those priorities who informed your decision, your consideration at this board. Next slide, please. Those are the next step. Again, I assume everyone have read this. This is the things we set out to do for our planning review. Again, I wouldn't want to say that this is all been planned by local authority. Is school leader in the working group. I think initially 8 people. I lost count how many school leader in the working group. They are leading on the next step. They will feedback any change, new light in quality we need to focus on. That's really important, school leader leading on this. Next slide, please. Yeah, those all the QA, the audit, automatic. Yeah, there are other development. Again, I don't want to read out due to because of time limit. And we want to really, one of the things we really want to highlight is the quality of our EHCP assessment and review is actually at the moment, it's really our priority. That's all what's it about. When we talk about we have less EHCP or achieve higher timeliness, if the quality not good enough, it's not good. So we again we went out to other areas to see whether they have any better practice or not, and we found this, for example, this system called Envision 360, which has been recognized by many areas as a very good tool to audit our EHCP practice and the case assessment. We have used that now. We have some outcome. Initial outcome is better than what we found out last year, but there's still a lot of good work to do. We want to have more cases to become silver, you like, that's good. This new system, I have to say that to get to outstanding gold standard is quite hard, but we have ambitions to move more cases towards silver, good. In some cases to gold standard. Next step, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Again, throughout all of work, we want to make sure really we have a good QA in building to have a peer moderation. Again, coming back to task finish groups work, and I always believe all those work need to be school-led. That's why when we set up any task finish group, I always ask, who is school leader leading this group? So I think we're doing that quite well. The whole system, education consent, local authority provide great technical support, financial expert, science expert, but internal system leadership, we prefer to have a school leader to lead the system. Okay, next slide, please. This is the timeline of our implementation of the planning review and other project work, etc. I leave for you to read. I think it will become boring. You are reading all the timeline. Next slide, please. No slide? Problem?
That's the end.
Yeah. Can I just take, you is okay, Chair Brian? I would like to just say that in past 1 year or so, you as a system leader have made great contribution to what we just said just now. Although we talk about current year's forecast deficit have been reduced by more than 4 million, it's not just a figure. There are a lot of hard work behind that. But your support as a system leader enable us to have a more purposeful sort of step being designed, be implemented. When we talk about, actually, we talk about block transfer, growth fund, etc. It's not just about DSG relocation. It's about how we make sure most vulnerable learner get the support they need. I think that's why it's so important. I keep saying, you and me, we are as a system leader. I don't just represent my local authority. You don't just represent your school. You represent the whole system to make sure whatever we do is really to make sure our most vulnerable learner get the support. I believe we have been doing that. It's not always smooth sailing, but I think we have a strong partnership, which again, I believe we have. We can always overcome any differences, any different views, and like to achieve, let's say, to agreement on the same objection aimed, so we can work toward some agreed objectives to achieve what we need to do. I think as you can see that our what we have come about already show some very good result. Just now when I said that a lot of work we've been doing actually make the system much better. We are not perfect. There's still a lot of challenge in our training category. That's why we are the least funded local authority. I think that's another challenge, national challenge, how we mitigating, etc. But through the local sort of reallocation of funding, sometimes they get some name, so like a block transfer, give people a view, just more money to another place. But it's really about how to make it different, to actually allocate the funding in the different part of priority. We as student leader all agree. I give you a few examples. Really, in the past few years, we have been doing what school leader told us. We want to enhance outreach work, which we have been doing. And then school leader have told assistant that our same casework support for school, for parents need to be strengthened. That's the way we've been doing. We have now have more stabilized or stable same team. We get many positive response from the school. And again, we have heard from SENCO that SENCO is really on their own. They feel they need to be better supported. That's why we have area SENCO. And then quite interesting, I visited a couple of schools last month. I got a very positive feedback from SENCO. The volunteer come talk to me, and I didn't ask about area SENCO. They said the area SENCO is such a good move, a good investment, really. Like SENCO in school, they feel very much supported. Then listen not just what local authority, listen to you agree when in the past 2 years, how we designed the DSG in a way to enable all of the things going to take happen. Sorry, I can't say more than what I have in the slide. I just feel in the past couple of days when I think about today's meeting, number one, I must join this meeting, although I'm abroad. But number two, I really want to share with you my gratitude of what you support make this system much better. Not perfect, but much better now. I must stop now. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Ming. Thank you for the update as well. Has anyone got any questions for Ming at all? Prue.
It's not a question exactly, but more context for you about the future SEND funding. So the LGA don't think we're going to hear anything in January about the white paper. They think it'll be further off than that. But we are due to get the council government funding settlement on the 17th of December. And we think something will be announced in there about how the DSG will be handled. But how much information we'll get, we don't know. What we do expect is that if the government announcement is in line with what they've indicated so far, that over the next 3 years, Wokingham Borough Council will lose £48 million in funding, which is obviously not helpful and will squeeze us somewhat tighter. Obviously, the DSG sits slightly outside that. We have written a letter, the leader of the council's written to Bridget Phillipson to ask for more clarification about what will happen in 2028 to the existing deficits in the DSG, because it's not clear. They're talking about taking over the future deficits. But if we get to 2028 and the system's roughly the same as it is now, our deficit will be over £100 million. And if that's then moved over to councils without any mitigation whatsoever, we will, we'll probably fall over as a council, because the way we'd have to fund that is we'd have to pay the interest on that loan, and we'd have to have a plan to pay it off in 20 years, because that's the rules for councils. That would put such a pressure on the council taxpayer that we'd be teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. So we're hoping that they will announce something which says how they're going to deal with existing deficits. But we don't know when, and we doubt if we'll get all that information on the 17th of December. But when we do know something, we will obviously let schools know, probably at our next meeting in January. Is it January? We've got another meeting? Yep. We should have some more information, but how much more, I can't tell you. But times are looking tough for us as a council. And if there's nothing announced on that, I don't know quite. We'll survive the next 3 years, so you don't have to panic about that. But after that, I don't know. So it's all a bit murky and unclear and not terribly helpful. And the fact that we're losing the 48 million means that our ability to support the DSG with our own spending is really, really restricted. Our children's services budget has gone to OVN scrutiny. If things go as we expect, we will get that through. We will produce some additional resources for capital for send units and so on, but we are not going to be able to do everything that people would like us to do, because 48 million is quite a large sum of money to lose over 3 years, as you can probably imagine, because I know you're all in similar situations with very squeezed budgets as well.
Thank you, Prue.
I'm not sure thank you is the right word.
No, I was about to say, I don't have the words for that one. Well, let's just hope that, that the forecast change. Right, we're on to the schools block setting principles.
It's down the bottom, I think.
Yes, the schools block budget setting principles. Obviously the paper went out in your pack, and we've sort of summarised it here on the slides for you. So this is part of our consultation with the schools community, looking at the principles of how we set our budget for next year and how we kind of manage within the resources that we have. So these are the things that we consulted with you. The growth fund policy, we didn't have a growth fund policy, so we set about drafting a proposed policy based on the guidelines from the DFE. The block transfer percentage from the schools block out to a high needs block, which is something that is sort of set out within our safety valve agreement, so we have to ask you this every year. And alongside that, the protections that you would like to see for schools within the budget setting process, and how we would use those. And then finally, we make a disapplication each year for our all through school, because the nature of the school means that they are disadvantaged by being funded as an all through school. So what we do is we sort of separate them, which means they get a little bit more funding through the APT to reflect the costs of being sort of arranged in that way. So our consultation paper set out the background in quite a lot of detail, and these are the things that we asked the forum to vote on at today's meeting. So this is a result of the consultation, the request about the growth fund policy. We had a The majority of schools voted against implementing the policy. We took it back to the Task and Finish group a couple of times, I think.
2 or 3 times, yeah.
And had some debate about the nuances and tweaking various aspects of the policy. And I think the key changes in the document that's gone out in the papers that you have today set out that we've been a little bit more explicit in the methodology for calculating where growth is based on the change in numbers on roll from 1 October census to the next. We also then set a maximum number of places that would be funded if a whole new class was needed, and we took out the requirement that should a school have a revenue reserve of greater than 8% of its budget, we would look for them to fund the growth from within their own reserves. So those are the key changes that went to the Task and Finish group. So that's what we have changed there.
I was going to say, we are reviewing it again, aren't we, in January, their policy?
Well, I suppose we have to wait for the settlements.
Settlements,
it's all a bit hypothetical.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So the policy hasn't actually been agreed yet. Yeah.
But that's just to update you on the changes.
Need to let one go.
I suppose my question is really, with the proposed changes in the growth fund, what is the impact on schools overall? So first of all, would there be more money going into the system for other schools, and if so, how much would that be? But equally, with the proposed changes with the growth fund, what would be the impact, the financial impact on the schools under this model, and would they have the capacity to deal with that?
It depends how you frame it, really. If we were to be looking at it from last or this year's perspective, you know, there's going to be a reduction of about 150 places that are funded through the growth fund for next year. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily down to the policy as such. There's been a lot of focus on the growth fund, work with sufficiency in the planning department, the Task and Finish group. And I think that's mainly a cause of the demographics dropping off next year. The policy has had some impact in terms of a few schools. We're saying actually we think you should have lower funded places than previously agreed. That's probably around about 40 places, which is around about £200,000. But looking at last year and the 150 places differential, that's equates to around about £900,000. So quite a significant amount of money. But it's more about, you know, funding growth where it needs to be funded, trying to avoid top slicing the schools block and using that DFE allocation.
Sorry, Al. You're saying about, if I understand rightly, you're saying that there's less places being funded. So why is the budget going up to £1 million for the growth fund?
So I think when you refer to the million, that's the allocation that we think we'll get from the DFE. So we get an allocation from the DFE based on their calculation. So we think that will be £1 million, roughly what we got this year. We actually think it's going to be about 550,000, the growth fund we need for 26-27. So hopefully there'll be a gap. This is all hypothetical because we don't know what the settlement is yet. But hopefully there will be a gap, a surplus to then push forward into the national funding formula for all schools.
So when you say you've got that £1 million from the government, could that be go into the schools block formula? You're taking it for growth fund, but actually could that go towards others, to the schools and out into the formula?
Yes, so if there is a gap, if there is a surplus between the million that we get from the DFE and the £500,000 that we give to the schools for growth, then that gap of £500,000 then can go towards the national funding formula potentially.
In the policy, it says about having that gap can go to other Schedule 2, I think something like that, rather than previously it used to say it goes back to the school formula. I think the change in the policy says about it can go to anything on the Schedule 2 regulation. So that feels like you could choose where that gap goes to rather than it going back to schools. Could you clarify that?
I mean, there's different scenarios that could happen. I think in all reality, it probably would go towards the national funding formula. There could be instances, again, this is hypothetical, where we could get schools up to the national funding formula and there is a surplus still remaining. So there would have to be a decision what we do with that surplus, such as, should we just put that to the high needs block? So at this moment, it's a bit of an unknown.
So would Forum make that decision, or would the council?
It would have to be, a collaboration. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So yes, you just touched on that's the schedule that, as we say, we really don't know what that allocation will be yet. We've kind of had to make the best approximation there. Okay. The other area we consulted on was the 1% block transfer from the schools block to the high needs block. That, as I say, is set out as part of our safety valve agreement with the DfE. And as you can see there, it was roundly rejected by the majority of the respondents to the survey. Do you want to add anything? Oh, is there?
Meg, have you got something to add?
Yeah, thank Chair. Yeah, when I put my hand up, it's very much just want to be transparent. When we talk about growth fund, we send out a draft growth fund policy. We see comment from two schools, particularly on reserve, 8% reserve, whether we should treat it differently or not. Those two schools noticed that been taken out. They expressed a view they need to be put back. So I did say that let it be sent to me. I will let the task force group know, let school follow know as well. Just being transparent, really. Yeah. In terms of block transfer, I would like to say that in working on, we're doing this way. We do the survey among school, get the feel what school leader think before school forum vote. Other local areas don't do that. I value that. I think it's really important because we know what school feel at the moment. We all know that the funding has been a challenge, quite interesting. So just so happened, again, about 3 weeks ago, Southeast 19 local authority did a surveys at school. Was like #1 challenge? Well, you know the answer. Majority of the schools saying funding budget is the #1 concern. So I do appreciate that. But going back to what I said earlier, it's about, is DSG school's money? Is your money? It's about which part you want to spend money on. What will support school better? So yeah, a school surveyed is useful. But I will urge that as a system leader yourself, need to give it a thought. What's best for the system? What's best for most vulnerable learner in your school? As I said earlier, I don't want to repeat that. Through joining a collaboration work, joining up work, we have achieved a lot. That means we are focusing on the right thing more or less. We want to continue that success only by having more flexible funding formula that you agree to at the same time wouldn't greatly affect the school's budget challenge. We'll be able to continue that success. That's just a little comment I would like to say, really. Thank you.
So we also asked if we did do a block transfer, how would we do that in terms of would we apply any protections, any measures within that transfer? And there's a summary there showing that the vast majority of respondents wanted some kind of protection in there, whether it's the minimum per pupil funding or the minimum funding guarantee. There were various sort of responses, but there was an appetite to protect schools. Okay, and then the final request was for the disapplication for the all through school, and that just summarises the details in the report about why we do that. And this is something that we do on an annual basis, but we do have to request that disapplication from the DFE. So we look for Schools Forum to support that. Okay. So that's just a summary of the things that we could possibly be voting on today, though we might be holding off on the growth fund.
So yeah, there'd be two things we'll be voting on today, isn't it? So the first is the disapplication for the all through school, which 100% response agreed through the consultation. So just a matter of going around now and just seeing if everyone they agree that this application should happen or not. So Judy, your first up.
So we're voting, just to be clear, on the disapplication only.
Yeah.
We're doing a recorded vote, so if Brian calls out your name, you have to vote for, against, or abstain.
Sorry, Judy.
Hi, I am going to agree.
Great.
So yes.
Thank you. Claire? 4, thank you. Mark? 4, thank you. Nikki? 4, thank you. Grace? 4, thank you. Julia?
4.
4, thank you. I'm 4. Raha? 4, thank you. Phil? 4. Liz? 4. Shirley? She's not here. David? 4, thank you. Deborah? 4. Darren?
4.
4, thank you. Peter? 4, thank you. Amanda?
4.
4, thank you. David and Lydia, you have a vote between you. 4, thank you. Ian, Thomas? 4, yeah, that one, yeah. Kerry?
4.
Thank you. Ian? 4. That's everyone. Thank you. So that's unanimously gone through. The next part is voting on these.
Because you don't get a vote
I
on
don't
the
get a vote.
funding of schools.
Yep.
Sorry, it's just
Yep.
the
It's
schools.
just the schools.
I was going to ask as well, is that for post 16?
Oh, sorry. Yes, Steve, you are there.
Steve John.
You're amongst the other two. Thank you, you 4.
4.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Right. The next part is on the block transfer percentage. Before we vote, I just want to I'll speak on behalf of Darren and I here, who chairs the task and finish, and we were disappointed initially in how this whole consultation was carried out. It was agreed in the July forum that the consultation would be shared amongst the task and finish, and we could actually go through it. It didn't, and we went straight out to schools. Initially, there was some misinformation in there and some inaccurate figures, which then we had to meet a number of times to actually clarify. But I just felt that this year was quite a frustrating and time-consuming exercise that it shouldn't have been. And we were trying to offer advice about where the percentages should be. And so I'm not surprised that 95% of schools have come back and said no. But I think that is just to be aware that, we're talking about partnership, and yes, we have come along, we've done a lot of things, but it was disappointing about how that consultation initially went out and the frustrations and the problems that we did have with it to begin with. All right, so we are now voting whether is it the 1%? Is that what we're talking about initially?
It's actually a 0.5%.
0.5%.
Yeah, we sort of listened to your views on the 1% and
yeah,
0.5% transfer.
0.5% transfer from school fund to high needs block. So if I go through my list, Judy, are you for or against?
Judy Hargreaves.
0.5 transfer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the question.
I'm against. I'm against that.
Thank you. Claire? Against, thank you. Mark?
Yeah, I'm against. I think we need more detail about also how would it be split as well. So is it under the same principles as it has been this year? So again, I'm against when we need more details and at a different rate.
Thank you. Yep. Nikki? Against. Grace?
Against.
Against. Thank you. Julia?
Against.
Against. I am against. Raha? Against. Thank you. Phil? Against. Liz? Against. Shirley?
She
is
sent
not
her
here.
vote against.
Against.
Remember, yeah.
Yep. David? Against. Deborah? Against. Darren?
Against.
Against. Peter? Against. Amanda?
Against.
Against. Thank you. David and Lydia? Linda, sorry. Against. Ian? Against. Kerry?
Against.
Against. Ian? Against. Steve? Against. Thank you. So that's unanimously against the transfer there. And the growth fund, we are looking at doing the vote in January once we have more information, more figures, and that policy has been sort of reviewed further. Okay. Thank
So
you.
we're holding the vote on here.
Holding the vote on growth, yeah. Right. Now we're moving on to school forum membership review.
Do you want me to start
Yes,
off?
that'd be great. Thank you.
So we briefly touched on it at the training. We review the membership once a year. We try to make sure that we have a number of representatives from each type and phase of schools, which is reflective of the number of pupils in schools. I think you would have seen the report. We're not proposing any changes. We are recommending that we stay as is. I wanted to emphasize that you can send substitutes to meetings if you can't attend. So you can send your school business manager or another senior person. Some people have used this and it has been effective. Is there anything you want to highlight?
No, one thing we are noticing is that with more academies coming across, and also with academies that have got secondary and primary, sometimes a business manager may take a primary place as part of that academy representation. But what we're trying to ensure is that we've got equal representation from those academies going by numbers, with others coming in as well. So we're just making sure that not one is dominating over the other. So we've just been very careful about where the spread of membership is going.
Just to make you aware, so obviously Linda and I are supporting the special schools, and from January we're going to have a special schools group in Wokingham that can feed into our ideas, and we hope that will include resources as well as units and stuff come up, so we can, in the past it's just been added and represented, but obviously there are other special schools in the area, so we can support them or give their views as well.
Thank you, that's great. Any other comments about the membership?
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I think I said to you in private,
Yep.
so I'd recommend that you ask your group to nominate you. And then also inform them that the meetings are public, they can have a read or a listen. So we're voting on keeping the structure as it is unless there is any objections. Show of hands will do. Are you happy with the current structure? Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, school forum forward plan. Is that at the back, is it?
I haven't got it in front of me, but I can find it.
The next meeting will obviously have quite a bit around the growth fund and the policy for that. I'm anticipating that you're still going to be putting through the disapplication for the high needs block.
I think we've just got to wait for the settlement, really, to
Yeah.
really get a steer on that.
Yeah.
We just don't know until that happens. We've got time. I think we've got until the 9th of January.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just want to wait to get the settlement, and then we'll have a better steer.
Okay. Anything else there? No, we haven't got it there.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, are people happy to continue having the in-person meetings here at the council? So the January one and going forward, we can always have it in the council with the facility to join online, but I think it's probably a good idea to come back into the room. Would people agree?
We've had more questions today from other people, which has been great. I think
It's a
with people
different feeling, isn't
yeah,
it?
in person, we seem to get more
More interaction.
interactive. Yeah.
That hybrid's still going to be available.
Yes.
Yes.
It is, yeah.
And just before we close, the only other thing is, did you find the training useful? Is that something you want to have once a year? What's the view?
I didn't mind.
Oh, switch.
There we go. I think for especially anybody who's switching out people and for new members coming in, I think it's useful to have that clarification around the core role, because it can take a bit of time for people who are new to Schools Forum to get their heads around what the statutory and kind of core duties are. So I think offering that service for people, especially those who might be subbing people in and out or who are new to Schools Forum, is important. Thanks.
Well, one suggestion I have, when I was looking at the training and thinking about how we go about it, I think I mentioned to our one idea that I think could work is that if we are available for you at 9:30 before each meeting, rather than having sort of a formal training session, if you know you have a question, just come earlier and we can have an informal chat. That might be more effective than waiting to hold a training session once a year. And I know the guys are really busy, probably don't have time to keep thinking of slides every time, but you can come and ask. You can ask outside of this time frame as well. If you know you're not sure about something, I'm sure you can contact Al and Angela directly, myself as well. But I always feel myself that it's nice to talk to a person, so maybe we can do that.
If that's a possibility to over a yearly one, and those kind of key people have got the time for it, then I've seen that work really effectively in another authority, and it means that if you want to ask what you might think is a stupid question before it gets streamed live, then that can be really supportive in terms of just making sure that you're asking something that's appropriate for the forum. So if people have got the time for that, I would really support that.
Yeah, we'll organize it for once a year, maybe at the beginning of the academic year like we did today. So we go on a yearly cycle and we'll do that. We'll answer questions before the meeting.
Could I just ask a question about the block transfer? Because I wasn't part of the forum at this time last year. Obviously, everybody's unanimously voted no to the 0.5. So what's the process now?
So as you've all voted no, and if we were to go ahead with a block transfer, if that's the corporate position, we just don't know yet because we haven't got the settlement, then we would confirm with the Secretary of State that we want to go through with a 0.5% transfer. They would then have to approve that, so we're still waiting for approval from the DfE. If they give us approval, then we'll do the block transfer and calculate that out as we've done in previous years, and essentially on the same methodology that we've done in previous years as well. We discussed that at Task and Finish Group. Although the weightings will be slightly different between the primary and secondaries, the methodology would remain the same. So that's it in a nutshell.
The political answer, if you like, it's not that we want to take your money, but we've got the safety valve agreement, which is predicated on the idea that we do a block transfer, so the DfE expects us to do it. They don't take any account. I mean, the first meeting that we had with them, the reason we're in this difficulty is the low level of funding we get. The first thing they said to us in the first meeting we had about safety valve was, we're not interested in your level of funding, which tells you everything you want to know, really. So I hope you understand that we're in a position where we have to do this. We understand how difficult it is for you as well, so we're not trying to penalise you or get angry because you don't agree with us. We completely understand why you don't want to do it, and I hope you can understand why we have to do it. And we will try and do it as fairly as possible. And we've tried very hard in the report today to show you that we do spend that money on things that benefit you. Then we're not trying to nick it into the council coffers. It's actually spent on stuff that we use. But we're just in an impossible situation. We're all in that situation, and we just have to do what we're obliged to do by the DfE. That's it, really. So sorry, and yeah.
as you said, I think we're all in a difficult position. I think if you go through the schools, a lot of schools that don't have MEG deficits, so that's just an extra squeeze that they just can't manage. So, yeah, I think we're at that difficult point.
Can I just ask related to that? Because during the process over the last kind of 6 months, we've heard some different views on the impact of the transfer versus the high needs block and releasing more money and things like that. I don't think we've ever got a definite answer on whether if the transfer doesn't happen, there is some money that doesn't come to Wokingham.
Sorry, say again.
So in some of the initial information that came out to us, it was sold to us that if we didn't make this transfer, the local authority would get less money as part of the safety valve. But then there was different views on that as we went forward.
There is a risk in not securing the block transfer because it was part of the DSG management plan, which was part of the original agreement. There is a risk that if we don't secure a transfer, the DFE will say, well, we're not going to be giving you the funding, therefore. So that's that risk. And we've still got 7 odd million to go over the next few years. So that's what we were trying to portray, that if we don't do a block transfer, there is that risk that we may not secure that remaining funding.
And other councils have come unstuck with their safety valves because they haven't stuck to been able to stick to the terms of their agreement.
January, interesting then. Be interesting at January then. See where we are. Okay. Is there anything else? No. Thank you, Angela, Al, Steve, and Ming for today's meeting. Thank you everyone for coming along, and we're back on the 14th of January.
Thank you.